So let's try this one. F of x equals sine of 5x. So we have to figure out the period. So the period, so first we know the k value. So the k value is 5 here. The period we have is 360 divided by 5, which is 72. And so a quarter of that is going to be 36/18. Okay, so now we could go and we could graph this thing. So there's nothing really special going on with the amplitude or the central axis. So it goes from -1 to +1. And we're going to go up by 18. So this has been squished, horizontally compressed, by a factor of 5. So it's going to be a pretty short period indeed. It's going to be 18, 36, 54, 72, 90, 108, etc., etc. And if we went the other way, of course, it would be -18 over there. It's a sine graph, so it starts in the middle, maxes out there, like so. And it looks something like this. And we can see that the period really is going to be 72, right? So the period, if we go, for example, from the top over there to the top over there, the period over there is going to be 72 degrees. Okay. Example 5, f of x equals sine of x over 3. I should have done a cosine in there. So the k value in this case is actually going to be 1/3. So the period is going to be 360 divided by 1/3, which, if you work it out, is the same thing as 360 times 3. So the period in this case is actually going to be 1080. It's going to be bigger. So this graph is going to be stretched out because it's a horizontal stretch. And then a segment, in this case, would be 1080 divided by 4, which would be 540, 270. Okay. So now we're going to draw this one over here. Again, nothing special really happening with these guys. But now we're going up 270 per chunk. So it's 270, 540, 810, 1080, 1350. It's a sine graph starting there, in the middle, like that, like that, like that, like that. And the graph looks something like this. And there we go. So let's put some of this stuff together. You know, let's change it. I think we could do the whole big kablooey. So we're going to say that it's 7 sine 2 times x minus 15 plus 3. So there we go. Let's graph this whole thing. So what we're going to do, so the middle line is going to be at 3. We're going to go up 7 to 10. We're going to go down 7 to -4. That's kind of our dashy line. Oh, I didn't do it with the phase shift either. Oh well, I threw a lot of stuff in one example, but I think we could do it. So those are the green values. Now, the k value here is 2, which means that the period, so there's going to be a horizontal compression, it's going to be 360 over 2, which is 180, which means that a segment is going to be 180 over 4, which is 45. So what happens now is normally we would start at 0, but now we have a phase shift of 15 to the right. So now we're going to start at 15. And we're going to go up by the segments, and the segments are 45. So we start at 15, and the next one is going to be 60, which is 45 later. And the next one's going to be at 105, and 150, and 195, and 240. It's a sine graph, so it's going to start in the middle. It goes up, down, bottom, middle, top. And that's what the graph of f of x equals 7 sine 2x minus 15 plus 3 looks like. We could have also gone backwards too. We could go back, say, to negative 30, because we would drop 45. And it would be, if we did that, it would be at the bottom over there. Okay, let's do one last graphing example. F of x equals sine, once again, there's some boring examples. We'll say 2 sine x minus 3. Okay, so, oh, I should have done 3. But it is done. So our middle line is at minus 3. We go up 2 to minus 1, down 2 to minus 5. This is our middle line over here. Now, we don't actually know what the k is. There's a problem with the k because it's not really in the right format. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to fix this up. So to make it look like a k, we're going to have to common factor out what's in front and make it look like this. And now we have a more appropriate situation. So now that looks like a k value. And we can figure it out. So the k value is 3 because of this, not because of this. The period is 360 over 3, which is going to be 120. So a segment is going to be 120 over 4, which is 30. And we are moving, we started actually, we moved left 5. So we're actually starting at negative 5. Then we're going to go up 30, so we're going to get to 25, 55, 85, 115, 145, 175. This is a sine graph, so it's going to start in the middle, at the beginning, to the top, to the middle, to the bottom, to the middle, to the top, to the middle. And there. Wow. Horribly drawn, but that's the right idea. It's just a sketch. Doesn't have to be perfect.